Good evening. It is Thursday, the 11th of May, 2023, and this is episode 001 of the 45 Day Show. I've recently launched a podcast, the 45 Day Podcast, and this is now a new show that I've come up with. And on this one, I'm going to be talking to two, sometimes three different guests about what's going on in their lives in terms of their DJ career, what's going on in Twitch, what's going on in the real life, if there's any events coming up, and also look back at what they've been up to. So I've got coming up later Jim Sharp, and he's going to be talking about Koco. He's going to be talking about the 45 Day Awards. He's going to be talking about his record Made, winning the awards, lots of cool stuff. And then we've got Sam Tweaks, who swept the board on the 45 Day Awards ceremony. So we're going to be talking to him, and he's always good fun to speak to. But before then, we have something important. One of the things we do on 45 days, obviously support mental health awareness, especially men's mental health. Part of my journey is my talk show, and my first guest today has been on that show with AdeyP, AdeyP, and yeah, we've got him on because he's organised a brilliant 3-day big weekender Twitch raid event in aid of Calm, campaign against living miserably, to raise awareness of the charity and mental health. So, without further ado, here we go.
Big up, Criztoz. How you doing, guys? What's up?
I'm really good, man. It's great to be able to do. We were just talking just before we came on about how it's great to be able to do this. And so on top of obviously the DJing, we can have a chat about it, because it's important, if people are going to support it, that they know what it's about, why we're doing it, why it's important. So yeah, let's start with this being the number 3 that you're doing. How did you come about doing the very first big weekender, and just explain what it's about?
The whole premise really is actually stems from my own mental health issues. And the thing is, I've done previous to the big weekender, I did events like a 30-hour stream. I did two 30-hour streams, one 48-hour stream for Calm. I felt with Calm, obviously, there's a personal reference to people in my life, my history, where, you know, especially men who struggle to discuss and talk about things of their mental health and so forth, and having personal experience of this. And I think coming out the pandemic, I felt it was very necessary to normalize the conversation around it, to kind of allow people to have that safe space that we do on Twitch to sort of, you know, support each other. And just through my mental health struggles that I've had, I just felt that if I just did something about it to get myself occupied and do things. And Calm is a charity which obviously not only is a UK-based charity, but, you know, supports, gives resources and support and advice for those that are in mental distress. If anyone wants to go to it, it's www.thecalmzone.net. And really, it's basically, it stems from that, from my own personal experience and my own need to try and make a difference, Criztoz.
And it's so important. Calm is a great charity, and it's one that we've also supported. We've done mental health raid trains with AdeyP, and it's one that's, you know, close to our hearts. And it is important. And I think it's good that we've now got this platform where men are talking about their mental health. I mean, certainly before Twitch, I'd seen the odd show on TV where people were talking about that. There was one in particular, I can't remember the name of the actor, but his friend had died, committing suicide, and they all just felt that they'd been not able to get involved. And, you know, one of the things, you know, the summary of all of that is, when you see your friends and ask them, are you okay? Oh, yeah, I am. It's asking that second question, but are you really okay? And I think that's what getting these conversations going is hopefully helping people to talk.
Yeah, I think so. I think the thing is, just Twitch itself is a great savior for many people who have, you know, mental health and communication and community and bringing people together. You know, come pandemic, we all were a bit isolated. We all kind of disconnected from everything. So you know, that kind of in itself, whether it's male, females, sort of all struggle with that. So yeah, I mean, Twitch would be the perfect platform in order to get this done. And I'm just finding more and more, maybe not so much on Twitch, because Twitch is one of those things where it's very supportive, very positive. People don't necessarily always talk about the dark side, but what stems from that is that people are whispering to each other, sending WhatsApp messages, WhatsApp groups. There's other things that are going on behind the scenes that are facilitated by Twitch as a result of people having conversations. I would be in a conversation, for example, and then someone might notice something and they whisper me or WhatsApp me, "Are you okay?" or whatever. That's where I think the change is sort of been quite significant.
Yeah, definitely. I'm just going to say hello to a couple of people in the chat. Barty Cuts, Jim Sharp's coming up next. Kev Clark, we've got Foxy Kirby, Tazuka 45.
Yes, legends.
Yeah, everyone.
Tazuka will be playing on Sunday, 7:45.
Yeah. So, yes, I think it's really important what you're saying because, you know, the inspiration for my show, part of my journey was through Messenger in terms of AdeyP sending me some messages and telling me what was going on. So it's interesting, like you say, so there is this sort of like the front facing community, isn't it? Which is Twitch. And that is the chat. And then obviously there's people going off and speaking to each other and helping each other and, you know, being there for each other. That's really important. But I think the key thing we talk about a lot is safe space. And I think Twitch, certainly in our sort of niches and the areas that we are, seems to be a very safe space and a welcoming space for everyone. And I think that's going to be important as well, hasn't it?
Absolutely. I think the thing is that's just the general positivity that you get from the groups that you're in, the people that come in. It's just a way, it's this small things you notice. It's not like the big statements, oh, I'm having a kind of this. It's just that it's just to be yourself, and being yourself and being free to be who you are. It's just that liberating feeling of like, you know, you don't have to kind of pretend to a certain extent. Okay, there's a certain online persona that we all have, but you know, there's a sense of freedom with that. And I think comes a sense of making a bit of confidence in being vulnerable. And that's what I promote on my streams and a sort of a lot of people do on Twitch, which is just an amazing thing to have.
It's very true, isn't it? Because standing in front of a camera and talking or singing, as in your case as well, or playing music, you're very vulnerable, aren't you? You're just sort of there. But as you let your vulnerability go, your confidence does grow. And this is something I've seen from so many DJs over the last 3 years. And in particular, we did the 45-day awards and AdeyP got, you know, the most improved 45 DJ. I can see what it was like at the very beginning and what he's at now, which is amazing. And it's great to see that on Twitch and someone like AdeyP's confidence building over that period of time.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. It stems into your personal life. It stems into your own self-belief. I think there's been plenty of people who were bedroom DJs, some people that just kind of didn't even want to play, you know, didn't even think about playing, and they've been encouraged to play. Some people are DJs and just hadn't done it for years. So I think what it does, it just gives that, you know, any challenge that you face, which is fear-based. You know, we all got fear when it comes to doing new things and putting yourself out there.
Yeah.
And I personally welcome that because that gives me strength and it makes me develop as a human being. But I think we're just seeing it more and more from people that aren't necessarily what we call not introverted, extroverted sort of people, you know. And it's just having that sort of sense of, oh, I can do this, and actually I'm pretty good. And you find often people who start DJing very quickly get hooked, and they get hooked on that community base because, you know, I can flip my laptop up, fire up the decks, and you're gonna get some people coming in, you have a chat. And that's the sort of thing which really does give people a sense of purpose, a sense of belonging, and a sense of just fun and projects to do, which is amazing.
It's I'll come back to that point in a minute because I think it's a very good one. But there's a couple of comments from the people in the chat. So Kev Clark says, I've been having crap days and have came on here for the tunes. Chat always changes my mood. So again, it's coming back to that sort of safe space, but also a friendly and supportive space where people can, if they're having a crap day, just think, right, I'm just going to tune into Twitch for 10 minutes, half an hour. My mate's DJing and we're all mates now, which is great. And let's see what other mates are in the chat. And it's like walking into your, I don't know, your like favorite pub.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's the thing is what Kev's just been saying, you know, you could have crap days and you could just pop in. It's like having like a club with like 50 rooms in, and you like just go, oh, hello, mate. And then go on to the next one. It's such a variety of music and different styles of personalities, which, you know, it depends on your mood, what you're fancying. So that's amazing.
I mean, in one sense, it's almost like, you know, I've started calling our events sort of festivals because although they're not physically in a field, they are a festival because we've got DJs from all over the world putting
Mm.
together the music. And if you think about it, Twitch is probably the biggest online festival because it's on 24/7, 365, and you're on a raid train, and then
Yeah.
you go to another party, and then you move to another party. You're celebrating someone's birthday. You're raising money for charity. You're celebrating because someone's been doing Twitch for 2 years. You know, it's just so positive the whole time.
Yeah, I don't think you've had that in any social media. I do often when I go on certain other chat shows or anything else like that. You do often hear of certain communities not being so positive, but I don't get that in mine. I don't get that in my realm.
Yeah.
It depends which scene that you're in. But yeah, I mean, it's just a fantastic thing. You talk about festivals, and this is the way I go back to the big weekend. I see it as an online music festival, and the way it's been curated, it's kind of got that festival feel because you kind of get in different flavors and at different times. So yeah, it's one of those things which I try to look at them as big events which introduce people to Twitch and also introduce people to like DJs that they might not know from all around the world. And that's what makes it amazing that people now could probably, I could go to Canada, America, Australia, Europe, and you're going to find someone and know someone. And you'd be like,
yeah,
oh, you know,
exactly. Exactly. And that's the thing. It's just opened up the world to us. And I was talking last night. I was playing some of the Brazil music and saying about all the amazing Brazilian DJs that we've met and have on streams and listen to their music. But just taking them for an example, they're probably DJs that we would never have heard of. You might have just possibly in the periphery caught something on Instagram, but not in the way that we, collaborate now. It's amazing, really.
You often think that that's the thing. I do spend a lot of time because also when my sleeping patterns are off, I just go and find new DJs, and I think that's the thing. We can get into our niches, and I'll get into our usual ones of going through. But I think the thing is my not responsibility, but my purpose in doing these things is to try and get some of those DJs from around the world, or even some from the UK that people wouldn't have heard. And I think it's my own passion of introducing new music to people, and that this is what I'm astounded by, the quality of DJs out there. That some have just got 3 viewers, some have got 50 viewers. It doesn't matter, but it don't matter. The quality around across the board is just insane. And some people don't even think they're as good as what they are, which is another reason why when you look at their follow count, you've got like 100 and you're thinking this person needs to be heard. And that's also a great thing about these raid trains.
And it's also great because we have the ability to do like shout outs or go follow this person or go follow that person or whatever. And that's again been a big part of Twitch and what we do, the community. And that's again a really positive thing, isn't it? You know, we're not there going, oh, I'm the greatest DJ, don't look at my records, or I'm not going to tell you how I set up my, we're all like, yeah, he's a brilliant DJ. He's a brilliant DJ. Go and follow this guy, go and follow that guy. And again, that's really positive. It's pushing positivity.
There isn't that sense of competitive nature, when you DJ in the real world, which is the case. Let's just face it, it's not the same. And that's part of the reason why I didn't give up, but it kind of lent itself to me moving out of that, because, there is a sense of, oh, you play, you're a drum and bass DJ, but you play a little bit of this. It's kind of, you wouldn't accept it. So for me, coming into that space was incredible, because then I could like go, oh my God, I could just be myself, play what I want to play. And there's no judgment, which I feel everyone needs. I think the music industry and music people are so precious and so clinging on to some old ideals. And I think we all just need to be a little bit looser, a little bit more freer. And this is the sort of platform that gives people that freedom, which makes it so different. Because look at any other social media platform. You know what I mean? You've always got some element of hate, always an element of, I'm really struggling to think if anyone's been banned from my channel. I don't think so. I mean,
just bots. Really?
Yeah, but I mean, in terms of someone coming in and being abusive, no, it's never happened.
We've been lucky. Yeah. I mean, we have been lucky because there was, and I'm sure certain channels do get a lot of like the hate raids and all of that stuff. So there is that side of Twitch. We've just been fortunate, perhaps because we're a bit under the radar, or perhaps we're all of a slightly more vintage age. Maybe that's our demographic is. Our demographic's like a little bit older, maybe that's
I think it's the scene. I think if you're if you look at certain electronics music genres, they are much more cliquey about that. If you're predominantly that type of DJ, but because we are probably quite eclectic, I think that lends itself. And as you say, of a vintage age, people are like a little bit more loose.
Yeah, it's all cool. Right, let's have a little look at who you've got lined up. So this is the third one.
Yeah, the third one.
Okay. We are
just to say that the community have actually raised nearly £10,000 in all of these events. So, you know, that's a testament to you guys. Obviously, I'm the vehicle that gets this shit going, but without you guys, the DJs, the moderators, the chairs, the fun, you know, the donors, you know, this would be just an event. And I think this is why people lend itself to it, because it's a charity which and a cause which relates to everybody. And I think that's why people can get behind it, because, you know, ultimately this isn't about me. This isn't about creating exposure for me and my follower account. This is about mental health awareness and raising money. So as Bob Gelder said, get your fucking money. Get your fucking money. Double
but
P.
It's Double P's in. We've already spoken about Double P, and I'm sure we will do again. But yeah, I mean, what it is, you know, if anyone doesn't know, I'm sure everyone does know, but obviously, you know, you organize it, you ask people to give up their time, to give up their stream time, and you know, some large majority will give up any bits, you know, subs they get to the charity. So it is a good way of raising money, and also using this little platform that we've got to help other people. You know, we've done it with the charity stuff. We do with the 45 Kids. We do Jesse's Fund. We've done Calm. You know, we've done the shelter. So, you know, we've got a little platform. Let's push it and try and get, you know, help as many people as we can.
Yeah, I think quickly, just to add on that, I think it's better, like, if you in anything in life, it's better just to try and do something. I mean, we're not going to change the world by this, but it's better than doing nothing and sitting on your ass and doing nothing and just complaining about it. So you might as well get off your ass and do something about it. That's what I do.
Exactly. Right. So let's have a look. This is
this is the best poster because there's less DJs, the fonts are bigger, right? So I got to get this out here, guys, right? I'm not the best poster maker. My poster maker retired from me. I'm not going to name names, but this is all right. This is okay.
Mate, I design flyers all the time, and it looks good. I can read it, and that's the main thing. And it looks bright and it's colourful. It's great.
Yeah.
So I see someone called AdeyP DJs kicking it off.
Yeah. Yes, that's someone. Yeah, me. I think the thing is, I like to kick proceedings off. There's obviously a lot of people there that you might know. There's one guy's in there that you might not know. Funky Vibes. He's from Berlin. I think he's Berlin.
Oh wow.
Germany. Okay. Yeah. And very cool guy with good cool backdrops. I introduced him. He came into my stream, and I've been catching his streams. He's one to look out for. Obviously, you've got some classic favorites there: Candyman, Liam, Goldie, DJ Clever, Maria. We got lucky to have Shadow Child, who's a big producer here in the UK. B-Side, another one that we all know from Second Side. So, what I've tried to do, Criztoz, people of the chat, is create. I'm of the old school mixtape methodology, where you try to create a bit of a flow to the proceedings. So you kind of got each day the DJ complements each other, but not the kind of same.
Yeah.
So you would see that each kind of day is a bit different.
We're on the same page, and I think, you know, I've talked to some of the other Twitch DJs about this. You know, this is potentially much bigger in terms of, right, so okay, we're doing, you know, you're doing this for mental health. There's no reason why at the same time a second and collaborative mental health raid train for the same charity couldn't be going on. So then you're basically creating, as I see it in a festival, tent number one, your thing, tent number two, my thing, but we're all working together.
Like they did with the event.
You can include lots more DJs. That's always the problem with these things. You can never get everyone in to these raid trains because there's so many great people you want to get in. So yeah, food for thought. But let's have a look at number two.
So Saturday again, the font's a little bit smaller on this one, but you know, there's a lot of obviously this is when the international DJs come in. You've got To The Beat, you've got the Canadian aspect of it, then you've got America, Thailand, and obviously back to the UK. We've got more of a what I would call electronic dance music sort of evening going on there. We're lucky enough to have some names like Diligent Fingers, E-Town, but of course Katie DJ. If anyone knows Katie DJ, she's absolutely fantastic. Bass Fanatic, DJ Vilify. Some great names there, and a lot of them, if you don't know, trust me, they're very, very good. So if you want to duck in Saturday and Friday and Sunday, you're always going to find someone that you're going to enjoy. And I would say they're accessible. They're accessible. So it's not like they're crying like crazy shit, even though someone might. It's just accessible stuff. You get me?
Yeah, and what I like is because you're involving obviously some of the 45s community in this, and there's a lot of DJs on that lineup that I've heard of, but I haven't necessarily spent too much time in their channels. So it's putting on these events. It's like, again, coming back to going to a festival. You go to a festival and you're always going to see bands or DJs or whoever who you didn't know or didn't expect to see. So that's another great thing about these raid events.
Yeah, absolutely. And
Right.
Sunday's going to be amazing. Got so many great acts there. Looking at the next one there, we've obviously got our favorite DJ AdeyP going on there. Straight after yourself at 9 o'clock in the morning, which is going to be again. I paid attention to the morning vibes, and I know you and Zuka there. And double people, just as everyone's waking here in the UK, we'll just sort of get things going again. But if you look at the people as well before Canadian Breaking, the DJ he is very out there. He's very sort of what I would call. He plays music that not many people would know. It's very weird, like it's almost just a blend of just weird but beautiful stuff. So if you're up at that time, you've got Sunday Get Down, Sam Tweaks, DJ OP1, John the Hat, Disco Campbell. I mean, just at lunchtime, if you're a bit like, wait, Disco Campbell just elevates the crowd. He's got so much energy. Such a G. And he always plays this like fun music as well. And then they've got the mouse outfit. And then, of course, I finish proceedings at 11 o'clock.
Yeah. I mean, it's it's pretty crazy. But it's so much fun, isn't it? Because it's, the days at the beginning of the pandemic when people were just at home and literally just sat in front of Twitch or whatever for hours on end and not there anymore. But it's great to know that, you're like, okay, so what am I going to check out on Twitch this weekend? Oh, well, there's this raid going on, or there's this mental health train going on. And then you just dip in and out as and when you can, after some breakfast or just for lunch or something, or in the evening, or if you can. So it's been brilliant for that as well. And again, coming into the safe space of knowing that when you jump in there, because of who's involved and who's organized it, the crew and the chat are going to be supportive, friendly, lively, and accepting.
And it's going to be just a lot of fun. And one thing I've noticed, and you'll notice it by the end of the weekend, that people are just sort of, especially people that have caught quite a bit of it, they go, well, do you know what? It's just been such a lovely experience. And you'll find that if you get to Sunday, where everyone's sort of just feels like it's kind of a feeling where you'll get stories shared, you get jokes shared, someone's having a bad day, someone will prop them up. It's one of those things that encourages it a little bit more, of that sort of safe space talking thing we were discussing.
And I'm assuming whatever happens, this isn't going to be the last one.
No. I look at quarterly ones because obviously I don't want to saturate it. So I do it quarterly. So I mean, like we've just discussed before the stream, there'll be obviously opportunities for collaboration events, because there are so many DJs that I would like to put in. I'm always trying to encourage new ones to get in as well. But the availability is a little bit more trickier because everyone's got gigs. But we look at sort of quarterly, so it'll be May and then sort of one sort of September and then end of the year.
And have you spoken to Calm yet? Have you sort of approached them and explained?
I've reached them. They've basically been handed everything in terms of press packs and everything else like that. So there should be a release on their website soon. That's what they tell me. So everything has been there. I was a bit slow to contact them, so hopefully they'll get it done in time. But fingers crossed. But again, if you want to put the link up for the Calm Zone and stuff like that, that might be a good idea. People can go visit and check.
Yeah. Let's try and get that into the thing. So it's calmzone.net, isn't it?
The calmzone.net. And if anyone, of course, mental health, if not just for people in the chat, if you know any friends or any family members or anyone else that might be struggling, please do send them there. They're a great charity. If we look at the statistics, on average about 128 male people die in the UK by suicide, and that is just too much, guys. And as I said, if we do anything, even if it's just a small drop in the ocean, that money goes to a good cause, and it does make a difference and changes lives. So please, even if you only got a couple of pounds, hit that donate button, or at least pass it on. And to anyone in the chat, I know you're not directly involved, but if you can share any of the stuff on your socials, that would be really helpful. Thank you.
And it's that's becomes quite important, because there's a lot of people, for example, Sherelle LaFunk, who will repost, and Adrigati and a few other people who are not streamers themselves, but they will share it on their social media platforms so that people know that something's going on. So again, we've got a lot of people who aren't streamers and just view. So, if you've got social media and want to help, then definitely just stick something up.
It doesn't matter really at the end of the day. I mean, if it reaches one person, it reaches one person. If you get one like, you get two likes. I mean, just by the process of doing it could make a difference.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I think Sunday morning will be probably some reggae. I imagine that's what I normally do on a Sunday morning, and then we'll just sort of maybe, I don't know, go into some sort of chilled world vibes or something. I don't know. I'll see what I can dig out before then. But it's been amazing. I see our next guest has arrived backstage, and I'll introduce him in a minute. But yeah, anything else you want to say before we go?
I would think, just first of all, Criztoz, thank you very much for giving me the platform to speak to your viewers and to get this out there. Thank you for your involvement. Big up to all the DJs involved. Big up to everyone who's going to be supporting this weekend. Please do come along. You can check my Instagram if you want the lineups and obviously other people's Instagrams. But yeah, come and get involved. Donate if you can, share if you can, have some fun. And remember, if you need anything and anyone's in distress, go to thecalmzone.net. And you know, yeah, thanks very much. Big ups. Yeah.
It's been amazing. Thank you, Adey. Thank you for getting me involved in this. Thank you for being a guest on my second show. And yeah, I will catch you.
Catch you later, guys. Bye.
Take it easy. See you later, man. Wow, AdeyP. So how cool is that? So this weekend, 3 days, the big weekender, all in aid of the Calm Zone. So if you can get involved, obviously those who are playing, big ups, and everyone else come along. So next up, we have the one, the only Jim Sharp. I've been lucky enough to see Jim play out recently in Bristol, so we're going to be talking about that gig. He's been doing lots of really cool, amazing 45s releases, including a new hand-stamped one just on Bandcamp Friday. And he's also won 2 of the 45-day awards for Best Producer and Best 45 of the Year. So without further ado, there he is.
Hello. Can you hear me?
How you doing?
Shout out to everyone in the chat. How do I sound?
Could probably do with a little bit more volume, but I can do that at this end if that's easier.
No, it's okay. I'm sitting right in front of my mixer, so I can just wheel that up a little bit. All right. Hey, Criztoz, how you doing? You're looking a little dark over there.
It's yeah, sort of the nightclub feels over here. But yeah, no, it's I'm good, man. 45 day. It's
nice.
It's like a week.
Hey, listen, congratulations on 45 day, man. What a great job you did, and I know I echo everyone's sentiments when I say thank you for doing all that hard work, and it was really amazing.
Oh man, that's appreciated. Yeah, I appreciate that. So Sam Tweaks is our next guest. He's saying you sound almost as sexy as AdeyP, our last guest.
Hey, listen, AdeyP had almost a Wolfman Jack vibe to him.
Yeah,
had that like kind of growly, like sexy thing going on. I was like, and he was rocking the sunglasses and the goatee, and I was like, man, this guy's a superstar.
Well,
I'm not taking a piss. Like, honestly, I was watching. I was looking at it, going, man, this guy has got charisma out the wazoo. Anyway,
but it's something that you have to accrue on Twitch, isn't it? That's the thing, where there's DJs, different levels of DJs, but it's personalities, isn't it? Really, that people are sort of tuning in for. I think.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Definitely. And being able to see your favorite DJs.
Of course.
Live as well.
Live, and I mean, sort of one of the reasons why I don't stream as much as I possibly could is because this is my little studio room. It's like slightly bigger than a closet, and isn't really set up ideally for streaming. So, and this is kind of my personal space. So as much as I like inviting people in, I kind of like keeping it to myself as well. So like, I have this like battle with myself over whether I'm gonna stream and allow people in. But anyway, I know that sounds all like that all ties in with like the whole mental health situation.
Yeah, definitely. And coming back to the fact that it's very vulnerable because you're not only letting people into your life, you're letting them into your home, and not many of us, I don't think hardly any, have actually got a studio where they stream from. Most people's places is their homes, so it's part of that. But right, we've got quite a lot to talk about.
Well, hold on. Before we get there, let's give some shout outs here. Because
yeah.
I see some of my favorite people in the chat.
Go for
it. My lady Melza is up in here.
Yes,
Tina's up in here.
is.
Funk M. Sucka Timmy. What's going on, Tim? Who else? Who else we got?
Sam Tweaks we've got.
Yeah.
Tea Cake we've got. Funk M. We've got
Rolling
DJ
Adams up in here.
We got Jabons as well.
Yeah.
Rolling Adam. Yeah.
Mr. Lob's up in here as well somewhere, unless he's disappeared. Anyway.
Mr. Lob's there he is.
Shout out to the shed.
Yeah. Big ups to the shed. And as Demelza says, if you could see the state of my room behind the camera, well, I say that a lot. That's why the camera's pointing this way. That place that way is just an absolute mess.
My room's so small that the camera can only point one way. Let's just put it that way.
Who else? We've got Mr. Musto as well, and John the Hat. Yeah, lots of people.
Mr. Musto.
Thank you.
What's going on, John?
Thank you everyone for turning up on this first show, and I'm very privileged to have 3 amazing guests on tonight. But yeah, so let's talk about the Koco tour first. Let's talk about that, and then we'll talk about the awards and the other stuff you're doing.
Sure.
But you did organise quite a lot of that, certainly the UK side of it, and you were part of it. It was the Jim Sharp and Koco tour. I got to see it in Bristol, as did a lot of others, and it was great for all of us to meet up as a community. So maybe, just tell us about how it came about and what the tour was like.
This will be a fun little exercise behind the curtain for everyone, I think, because I'm not saying that in like a big-headed way, just like hopefully it'll be interesting, because first time Koco played in Europe was in Skopje, Macedonia, with Gotza and Shvare brought us out there for Funky Vinyl for the vinyl convention, and so I played with him then. And he hadn't really played that much in Europe after that. He played in Germany recently and in Amsterdam recently. But so I was just thinking, like, man, I understand, like, or I think I understand what, like, possibly the venues he should be in and things like that. And so I pitched to him that me and him do a European tour together.
Yeah.
And then I started talking to his manager, Sushi, and it was all very constructive. But so ultimately what happened was it was one of the linchpin gigs to it was him playing the Doing It Festival in France. And and we were looking at maybe coming out a week before that or staying a couple weeks after that. But I think ultimately Koco started getting lots of gigs. Like I think he played in Brazil and Dubai earlier that month.
Wow.
And then ultimately, like instead of like kind of running around Europe, I think Koco made the decision of, oh, listen, I just want to come to the UK for a week, hang out, maybe do some digging, and just like do some shows in the UK, which was a lot easier for me, obviously.
Obviously.
And so I just to pull back the curtain a little bit, it was an interesting one because we all know Koco for the like immense talent that he is, and showman, and an amazing turntablist, and he's so musical and dexterous, and he's definitely one of my favorite DJs on the planet. And I'm sure a lot of people within the 45 scene probably echo that sentiment as well. So
yeah. Well, he won the award, but yeah,
right, he did. But like, it's interesting because I don't think we take into account that our scene, our 45 scene, is kind of a microcosm of a microcosm, right? So
it's tiny.
It is a very small scene. Even though Koco is very well known by a lot of respected DJs, like he was he was on Jeff's Vinyl Destination 45 tour with him and Jazzy Jeff and Skratch, and I think Skratch Bastid did one date, but I'm talking about Skratch from EPMD. Anyway, so let me gather my thoughts. So we think he like the way we look at Koco is that he's this amazing showman and he's a juggernaut. But I think we don't realize that outside of like the big cities like Bristol and London, like not as many people know about him as we think know about him, or the perception know about him. And then so there's one of two people that I ran into trying to book this tour. One was, oh my God, Koco, and who? So like it was one or the other. There was no like middle ground to it. So so that was interesting. And then I guess the other side of doing that is I've never been a booking agent in my life. Like I've booked my own gigs and I've that sort of thing. But dealing with venues and promoters and dealing with like the travel logistics and just like the just like food logistics and like just things like that was
it's everything, isn't it? It's not just turn up the gig, it's everything that goes with it.
It was eye-opening and I expected it, but it was it was a lot of work at the end of the day. And not necessarily the work I want to be doing, but obviously for someone like Koco, I guess the other thing is Koco coming to our country. I wanted to treat him the way that I would like to be treated if I went somewhere else. So I definitely tried to roll out the red carpet as much as I could.
And it seems like that, and we've seen that recently. Obviously, Mark when he went over to the States, and obviously Robert Smith just been in Australia. So it's amazing to see these DJs connecting, but also seeing how they are looked after and respected. And it's really, I think they described it when they came on the show this week, like the foot in the door tour. So basically, get in there, and we spoke about this before, I think, about breaking ground. So now that Koco's broken ground, but it's also not just Koco, it's everything else, Mr. Thing, all the other DJs who are connected to it. Once you've broken ground at venues, hopefully later this year, next year, things can start to build.
I guess for me, like my sort of what's the word I'm looking for? My reasonings for doing the tour ultimately were because I felt like we could bring the 45 thing to bigger stages and bigger shows and things like that. And also, man, like I have to be honest, like 8 gigs out of 10, I don't play 45s. Because I think 45s are like if you book me to play 45s, I'll bring that bag along and rock it, right? But but if it's just a regular gig, I guess the other half of it, like it's a lot of work to do for a regular gig, and then B, like again, 8 out of 10 people do not care that you're playing 45s in a club. When you are actually playing for, like, they want the dance floor to be rocked the same, like whether you're playing off a USB stick or 45s, right? So anyway,
that's right. But I think what was interesting for me in Bristol was that there was quite I don't know, it's going to sound old, but like a slightly younger crowd. And it was interesting seeing them through the whole thing, during Mr. Thing set, seeing what he was doing, the tunes that you were playing and what you were doing, and then obviously standing in front. They saw the physicality and the amazingness of using vinyl as opposed to being in front of a laptop. So it's whether they care enough to want to go out and book that again, isn't it, really?
Yeah, I mean, how do I say this? So playing 45s to a big crowd of like a festival or like a club night that's packed dance floor and stuff like that, it's a lot harder. than just playing a 45 set. Do you know what I mean? So it's somewhere, and I'm not saying that with a big head in any way. I'm just or I'm not making any assumptions. I'm just like literally, it's harder. And I spoke to some old friends, Patchwork Pirates. I don't know if anyone remembers them, but they were there in the Bristol gig, and they were like, so, dude, like, what's up with the 45s? Are you just trying to make it harder for yourself? Like, and I was like, they're easier to carry than 12s. Like, I don't know.
Yeah. It was interesting because obviously at the end of that show, it was Jaguar Skills, obviously rocking a Serato set.
Yeah.
And it was interesting because I think the youngsters still enjoyed it, but whereas all of our community, we were like, I don't know. It was weird simply because it was a slight different change of format. It was interesting, but maybe it was just because we were there for 45s. Maybe that's what it was.
Also, I think stylistically, like Jag Skills is a dope DJ, and but I think stylistically, he's also one of like I kind of call them like what is it ADHD DJs that
right
DJs like a song a minute sort of situation.
Okay, yeah.
And obviously with Serato, you could do that really easily, right? Like it's a lot harder to do that with 45s. So I think maybe, and he's also like, I feel like he's kind of more geared to like a festival crowd as well. So like I think that was stylistically and sort of the way it was mixed and everything was probably the biggest factor in that. But Jag Skills are dope, man. Like I rate him as a DJ for sure.
Yeah. But that was a great event, and looking at your little recap video as well, it was great because after that one you had the chip shop as well, didn't you? So, and that was a tiny little venue, isn't it? From what I've heard, I haven't been myself, but I've heard it's quite small.
Yeah, it's like you can fit 100 people in there, shoulder to shoulder.
Okay.
So it was like, and it's a dope place to play because like heads go there, right? Like I can play like a B-side of an OC record at like 11 p.m. and people will like dap me up for it. And so like heads go there. So that show was pretty amazing because it was just so small and everyone was so psyched about it who was there.
Yeah.
And Koco really enjoyed that show as well.
Yeah, I mean, he looked like he looked like he enjoyed all the gigs.
Yeah, no, he did.
Yeah, we're going to jump forward to a gig coming up at the end of this month. Kev Clark's question is: Bastid appearing at the Chippy? You may not be able to answer that.
I've got no comment surrounding that.
But we've discussed you're playing again, aren't you? At the end of the month, aren't you? And we've got Skratch Bastid coming over.
Yeah. What the new dad Skratch Bastid? I don't know if you heard, but he had a son on Sunday.
Oh, on Sunday! Oh, congratulations! No, I hadn't heard.
Yeah, and at Tuesday morning coffee, he was what's the word, verklempt? Like he was like he was mad emotional and wow. Like tons of love was coming his and his wife's way. So, which is another great thing about Twitch, right there.
Yeah. Well, because we were talking about that earlier, weren't we? The support and the love and the vulnerability. But it's like when Flip Out brings Mars on. I don't know if you caught when he brings Mars. I think he had her for 45-day live stream, and she was like trying to speak into the microphone at one point, and it's so cute. And he plays that video behind him of like the first couple of hours of her birth, and he's like, it's amazing that he's got that. Yeah, and he's got that because of obviously Twitch, and then he can share it with people. I mean, for that, Twitch is insane for that sort of stuff.
Yeah, it's really good for sure. But yeah, so Bass is coming on Bank Holiday Sunday, the 28th, playing in Peckham. The day before, he's playing at
Shindig, isn't it?
Shindig, that's it.
Yeah.
So I might make the trip, but it is a bit far for a one dayer.
Yeah.
I think the 28th is the Cross the Tracks Festival in Brixton at Brockwell Park, and that has like Roy Ayers and Khalees and a bunch of people. So I think we might go along to that.
Yeah.
Check that out.
I mean, it's good that there's so much stuff going on, and obviously you're gigging out obviously much more regularly than you were previously to the pandemic. I think, is that right? Or
surprisingly, a lot less.
okay.
So when the pandemic happened, I had about 2 months of Friday and Saturdays booked up, like just all over in random places and like just working DJ styles.
Yeah.
Which is nothing wrong with working DJs, and the pandemic came along, and for a while I was like toying with the idea in my head, what if I just stopped DJing and just like put my head down in the studio and started making stuff like all the time, and and I would respond to myself, what are you, crazy? You can't stop making money. You have to keep hustling, hustle, make those ends, and the pandemic forced me to do it. And then after the pandemic, I was like, I'm not going to do any soul sucking, soul destroying gigs anymore. Not for me, because I've been DJ for 30 years. I've stood in the corner of a pub playing 45s for 5 people for 4 hours before, like fairly recently as well. Like in the last 4 years, and it's like it just feels soul destroying because I'm so excited about the music and no one gives a shit. So so I decided to stop doing those gigs and just doing gigs that I wanted to do, that fed my soul, that like made me love DJing the way I love DJing. And so I'm playing a lot less. But that being said, it's a weird thing when you start to play less and you start to only want to do a certain type of gig. Those type of gigs start to find you and you start playing more. So like, I'm lucky to have those coming along, and yeah, that's that.
It's gonna build, I think, because of the production side of things, which we'll get to in a minute. A quick question from Demelza: is there going to be a Mr. and Mrs. Sharp barbecue this year?
Oh, Melza. So last year slightly broke my heart, and the reason why is because I put a lot of work into doing this barbecue, putting up the tent, getting all this food ready, like getting the sound system, everything, like the invites and everything like that. And I had the right people there last year, the lovely people that I loved there last year. But also, it was the first year after the pandemic, so I was expecting, it was a free barbecue with great DJs. Mr. Thing was there, Sarah Evans was there, Keith Lawrence was there, obviously Danny Bounce was there, Melza was there. There was, tons of great DJs, and unfortunately, it fell on a day where there was a train strike, number one, and then number two, it was like the hottest day of the year. It was like 38 degrees, and like in my head, I'm like, well, it's the hottest day of the year. Where do you want to be? You want to be at a barbecue outside, drinking and eating good fun food, and if there's a train strike, then hop in a cab or something. But anyway, so I just put a lot of work into it, and I just got tons of cancellations on the day, like people saying that they would be there, and then it really took the wind out of my sails. So I'm not sure I'm gonna do it again.
That's fine. I gave you a few days' notice because I was at a festival, but
yes, yeah. Oh no, for sure. And listen, it's the middle of the summer. A lot of people are.
I was grateful for the invite. It was great.
But the funny thing about that is, I knew that. So like, I sent invites out early, like a month early. But then I also think that was part of my demise, because like people who said, "Oh yeah, I'm coming," like possibly forgot about it as well.
Yeah.
Because it was a month later. Like, I don't know. Anyway.
Well, the people in the chat who were there had a brilliant time, including Demelza and Danny Bounce and Sam and Sucker Timmy. So there you go.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, listen,
it's amazing.
I feel like a spoiled brat saying all that, but it's just the truth.
Oh, I know what you mean.
I just put in tons of work, and it just really took the wind out of my sails for all the people who canceled. I'd rather them not have messaged me on the day and just not come. But like literally at the start of the day, I got like 10 to 15 different messages going, can't be there. Like, and I was just like, what is going on? Anyway. So I'm a sensitive soul, man. Shit.
It's not just you though, Mr. Lob. This is normal, Jim. I threw a massive 50th and catered to the person, and people just didn't show up or apologize. It
sucks.
It's like, okay. Here's the message, people. If you can't go to something, give as much notice as possible. That's the message. I think that's the cool. But make sure you go to cool parties like that and don't do other things. But let's move on a little bit. So, firstly, thank you for playing on the 45-day live stream. It was a killer set, and it was great to have you as part of that. But then we also did the 45-day awards, which I announced, and obviously you won 2 awards. I think we'll start with best producer, best 45s producer. So obviously the 45-day community voted, and they had their producers, and obviously you came up. So how's that? I mean, I know it's only a little award from me, but is it nice to have the sort of respect from the 45s community that you're up there with the
put some respect on my name? No, I'm kidding. You know what? Like it was really lovely, man. Like I honestly, I try. I put a lot of work into like the things that I do, and I put a lot of my heart and soul into it, and so it's lovely that people recognized it. There's tons of great and deserving producers out there that could have won the award that I'm big fans of as well, like Double A is one of them. I'm trying to think, like Nick Bike, the Suckaside guys are on fire right now. DJ AL, DJ Bacon, like there's tons of really dope dudes out there, like, so it's really cool. And thanks to everyone who voted.
Yeah, but it's definitely respected, because from watching a lot of streams, your records get played a lot, and they are all different styles, and that's the thing. It's not just the same record, because you are quite consistent as well and quite prolific, and that comes back to what you said about you made a decision that you're just going to focus on the music rather than trying to stream, or rather than do that, you're going to focus on the music and produce. So it must be great that is now paying off, because like you said, when you first thought about it, you're like, what do you mean I'm just going to concentrate on making music? So it must be good that it's come round and it's actually being accepted and achieved and being respected.
Yeah, I mean, so as far as that's concerned, I've it's one of those things where people may or may not know of my past work, and I like stuff like that. But I've been in this like production remix game for about 10 years now. Like the first record I put out was first 45 I put out, that is, was the award tour remix that I did, and that's coming up to, I think in October it's going to be 10 years. So I've been doing it for a minute, is all I'm trying to say, and I think during the pandemic I took leaps and bounds as far as the craft of it, and like the producing and the mixing and the mastering and that whole side of it. And it's always a work in progress, but I like So that and that kind of ties in with, I now have a Patreon, which every month I put out a remix pack of like 5 or 6 different edits and remixes.
Well, Mr. Musto says Jim's Patreon is fantastic and fills my radio and club sets.
Hey, thanks, John.
You can quote him on that. Quote him on that. Mr. Musto says.
Mr. Musto says. Yeah. So because I'm like, I have that quota to fill every month. I every month I get a couple of good ideas that ultimately make it to 45, and they've been tested like in the clubs and stuff like that before they
Yeah.
So so that's kind of the method behind the prolificness of things. But yeah, man, like I'm this, going back to the 45 scene, is a microcosm of a microcosm. No one's making a great living within the 45 scene. But that being said, it's definitely pay my bills and putting the food on the table for me, and allowing me to like grow and do what I love. So
and experiment as well, like you're saying, because you're producing so much, it takes you in different directions that you wouldn't potentially be expecting. So it's a good thing from that side as a producer.
Yeah, for sure. I'm actually working with this new Canadian artist who is like,
okay,
she has a voice like Erykah Badu. And
wow.
Oh my goodness, she sent me a rough draft or something like 2 days ago, and I almost spit out my coffee when I heard it. Like I was like, what? This is crazy. So yeah,
because the other award you won, and this is I don't know, it might mean a little bit more, is the best 45 of the year for Made featuring Marlon Craft. Because when you came on All Back to Mine, you played that, and obviously it was supposed to come out, and there was an issue initially with the pressing, and obviously had to get repressed, and obviously it's got this amazing artwork. But that, I think I'm right in saying that's your first OG production. That's not like a re-edit.
Yeah. So I had a couple 12 inches in about 2006. I put out little 300 runs that went okay. But yeah, this is Made is like the I've been talking about it for ages, and I hate talking about things and not doing them. I hate like hearing people talk about things and then them not do it. So I had to like shit or get off the pot, really. And so I put this plan into action, and so original production and working with like new artists and artists, full stop, is where I'd love to get to. I still because I'm a DJ, I still love making remixes and DJ edits, but ultimately I want to get to the point where I'm like a real grown-up producer. So
you wrote an album?
That was kind of the first step in doing that, and like getting I know it's a bit cliche to like, and it's happened a lot in the 45 scene, and I'm not throwing any shade, but like I really like, as much as they're my heroes, I didn't want to get like kind of an old rapper from New York to just like and luckily it was when Marlon was still working with Dante Ross, and I and Mark Hype introduced me to Dante during like the Wednesdays on Wax days. So I got in touch with Dante, and he put me in touch with Marlon, and Marlon hit it out of the park. So and
amazing.
And that was so I initially got the vocal for that 2 summers ago when I had full-blown COVID. And it just took ages, and I didn't ever want to just like, okay, forget it, let's just put it out like the way it is. I had my usual high standards were twice as high for that, and we got there, and it worked out, and luckily people really dug it. Like,
well, I mean, it's the whole thing. The music's amazing. the packaging, the artwork. I think is it AA who did the.
Yeah.
I mean, it just looks like legit. Maybe it's not just a sleeve like that, is it? With a thingy, it's proper sleeve, and I think that's part of it. And I think I got a white version.
Nice.
I was someone was saying that I was flexing the other day because I was playing the white version, and then Arlo comes into the chat, Sunday Get Down, and says, "I've got a test press I've made," and I was like, "Oh, who's flexing now, Arlo?"
Shout out my man Arlo.
Big shout out to Arlo. Yeah, they played a brilliant set on 45 Day, and they did a little shout out and stuff. So yeah, and obviously the good thing is you're a big supporter. You've been sending them test presses and your records because you can obviously appreciate that they are, or Arlo is the future of the 45s community.
Oh, for sure. I guess the other thing, and this is just my like. So coming up as a DJ, when I first learned how to DJ, I was really lucky, and I had like a bunch of like older DJs at my high school that were doing it, and were a couple of them took me under their wing and like put me onto things and showed me how to do certain things, and just basically taught me the ropes. And I think it's important to mentor and do that for people who are younger or just coming up or things like that. But the other thing that really impresses me about Arlo is that he's got skills. Like, I know he puts in work. I know he practices.
Yeah, he has.
You know what I mean? And so like, again, no offense to any of the 45 kids, but like if he was just playing records, I'm not sure, like, as a hip hop guy, I would be as supportive as I am, but because I know he puts that work in him, and because he's like trying to perfect his craft, and he's really into it. When you see someone like that, you have to feed them. You have to give them as much as you can, and make sure that you support. So anyway.
Yeah, we definitely do support Arlo for our kids. Right.
Which reminds me, his I'm sure he was pretty nervous, but I was on the train coming back from somewhere. I forget where it was. Oh, well, I think we were coming back from was it Bristol? Possibly we were coming back from Bristol. Or no, maybe it wasn't. Anyway, I was coming back on the train somewhere, and I was watching your interview with Arlo, and I'm sure he was pretty nervous, and it was just making me laugh because you would go, so Arlo, like, so that's your favorite record, like, when did you discover it and stuff? And he goes, when I was 7. And he was just dropping like these like one sentence answers.
Yeah.
And it was making me crease so hard because you go, yeah, right, okay. So
I mean, it's a bit strange interviewing a 13-year-old, and it was interesting because my daughter Zia got interviewed by Jawa Jones, and it was interesting watching that and an adult and the child's interaction, which, I mean, in one sense it's great that our community is like that and we can all get involved. But yeah, that was funny. I've got to say thank you to a couple of people. We had Mr. Salt raided in and Murillo Mongolo raided in as well. Welcome, raiders. This is 45 Day Show, episode 001. This is my second guest tonight, Jim Sharp, award-winning guest. We've been talking about lots of cool stuff, and we're going to get my final guest in. I'll leave you here for a little bit because I know.
Okay, cool.
He's not there. Where is he?
Sam the Ghost.
Sam Tweaks. He's empty chair. We've empty chaired him. He's like empty decks. Okay, I'll remove him and we'll see when he comes back. But live TV. Remember last time we were on live TV for the Dusty Donuts?
Oh yeah, I had to.
That was that was a pretty crazy.
A bit of a save there.
I think yes. I think he's back.
Sober one.
Hello.
There he is.
You all right? Are you good?
Yeah, we're good. We go, right, Sam Tweaks. And there was...
Hello. Hey. That's my daughter's fault. She wanted a drink.
Oh, how you doing, Sam?
I'm good, mate. You okay?
I'm really good. I'm really good. It's show's fun. Thank you. We've got some viewers in. We've had some raids in. It's been nice. Is the last time you guys saw each other Bristol as well?
I think so.
Yeah.
I speak to Sam like about 4 times a day anyway, so it's like, we
it's like that. Yeah. I know.
Hey,
here we go.
Am I flexing?
Flexing with the test press.
Love you, Sam.
Big love to him. Thanks, dude.
It is a great record. It is a great record. Sam, while we've got Jim, what was your experience of the Koco, Jim Sharp, Mr. Thing, John Stapleton, Jaguar Skills, all these amazing DJs? What was your view of that amazing gig?
It was pretty mega, wasn't it? I mean, we were all there. That was the best thing for me, was to see everybody, because there was so many. Obviously, as Jim said, we're gonna like a microcosm of a scene.
Yeah.
But you had everybody that was kind of together for the first time, especially with Twitch linking different microcosms together. That was magic. I mean, people like Dink Records, Kev.
Yeah,
Clark.
Kev. Yeah, I met Kev for the first time. Yeah.
Yeah. All the guys from the Gloucester crew that I know that came down. So you met Neil and W and Darren and everyone from the SGVC were all there. And then there was the Sucker Side guys and there was the Allergies. It was like everybody was like down for that gig.
Yeah. Well, we've got Mr. Lob. He's coming to the UK. So 9th of September in London, Star of King's Cross. More details to follow. But yeah.
So let me get that right. That's the 45 Kings in the Star of Kings in King's Cross, yeah?
There you go. There you go.
That's almost a mouthful.
And if Jim makes it, he'll wear his King t-shirt as well. So yeah. But cool. I'm gonna probably start to chat to Sam. So Jim, is there anything you want to say before we say our goodbyes today? Anything coming up?
Except for thanks a lot for having me on, and thank you to all the people who copped a record or made a vote or came out to a gig. It's an honor and a privilege to be part of the 45 community, and you're all pretty good eggs as well. So it's a lot of fun to do it. So thanks.
Thanks, Jim.
And thanks, Criztoz.
No, take it easy. And Sam's showing us all your records. But
I'm just flexing Jim Sharp joints here.
Yeah.
Don't play 3 or I'll reappear.
Before you go, though,
always.
and I haven't given figures out of everything, but obviously Made was number 1. The second one was your Doom Sade record as well.
Oh, word. Oh, that's cool.
So both of those records had, there was a few more votes for Made, obviously, but yeah, it was definitely up there in number 2 as well. So 2 out of best 45s.
Bloop, 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 bloop.
So anyway, thank you so much,
Very
Jim.
Cool. Thank you very much.
It's been great, and we'll speak soon.
See you soon. Take care.
So,
bye.
Yo.
Hey, Sam.
Hello, Criztoz.
It's been a while since we've been on StreamYard together. I think the last one was the Glastonbury one.
Yeah, it was nuts, wasn't it? Hey, everyone in the chat. I'm trying to do something that I've not done before. I can't hear myself back because I've turned my speakers off, so I don't feed back, which is weird. And I can see the chat on my laptop, so I can actually read the chat looking at the camera for once in my life.
Oh wow, amazing. We've got people saying, record of the year, AdeyP, Sam the Man, because you're taking part in the mental health raid train as well.
I think. See you Sunday, 6:30 p.m.
There you go, 6:30. Yeah, so I'm earlier on, and that's that. But how are you doing? It's been a while. Obviously, we sort of saw each other at Bristol, but like you say, there was a lot of people there, and it was great seeing people for the first time and connecting with people that, especially like Kev from Dinked and AKA Juice Master, and lots of people that I hadn't seen before. So it's great when those things happen, isn't it?
It was ace. I proper enjoyed it because I was like Mr. Bounce, me kind of linking everyone up that didn't know each other.
Yeah.
I absolutely loved that. That was really, really cool. Just to get like so many like-minded people together. And God, did everyone play amazing sets? I can gush about Jim now he's not on camera.
Yeah, go on then.
Jim absolutely smashed it. Mr. Thing was just insane. And you could see that both Jim and Mark, Mr. Thing, were both there. And they were both excited to see Koco. And then it came through in their sets as well, because it was fun and it was bouncy and everyone was going mental. And then Koco, like, not the, was the cream on the cake. But all three of them absolutely smashed their sets. It was all, and they were all quite different. It was really good.
It was just amazing. There was a couple of points that I saw when Koco first got to the venue. I think he saw him come in and Mark was playing. And then I just saw out of my corner of my eye that Koco had his phone out and was filming Mr. Thing's set.
Yeah.
And I was capturing that. And I managed to capture that on photo and I sent it to Mark and I said, look, check this out. He's like, oh, wow, that's amazing. Because obviously to have that sort of respect from another fellow amazing DJ must be great. And the second point, I was standing watching Koco and I had Matt Baylor and Mr. Thing next to me and Kev Clark's there as well. So it was amazing being in and amongst all these amazing DJs and no ego, no one's been a dick, everyone's been cool. That's the other thing that comes across.
Yeah, there was no ego bashing at all, was there? Everybody was just having a great time. Everybody was so chuffed to see everybody else. It was a perfect day. And then Jaguar Skills at the end, of course.
Double P saying you with the laptop stand was funny. I remember you moving a laptop stand out of the way or something.
Me being me. So Mr. Thing is looking at the decks and John Stapleton was on the right hand set and then Mr. Thing was going to use the left hand set. And there was a laptop stand over the mixer waiting for when Jaguar Skills come on and played Serato. So Mark looked at me and said, oh, Mr. Thing, do you reckon we can move that? So I said, tell you what, Mark. And I just walked around, whipped it off from under the table and threw it over to the side. And I said, you can blame me now.
Yeah.
Boom, gone. Have it.
Exactly.
You saw
it, it was amazing. And I think I remember speaking to you briefly afterwards, and I think you were saying it was playing the unexpected in an unexpected sort of way. I think it was one of the things you described it as.
Yeah, that sounds like me. Using the same word twice for no reason. But yeah, it was. Everyone brought their A game, and I think that really does make a difference, doesn't it? When everyone, and everyone was feeding off everybody else's energy. It was electric.
Yeah. I mean, for me, it was obviously afterwards. We spoke to Demelza, and Demelza was saying that she spoke to him, and he practices for 8 hours a day, and has only been doing it for 13 years. I think it was the 13 years that sort of took a lot of us by sort of surprise. But I think for me, is you could just see him, and he just knows his records really well, but he also knows exactly where to put the needle on the record. Hence the sort of really quick changes. It's like putting it. And it's like there before you know it, and then he's dropping it. That was
his muscle memory on the needle drops was insane.
Yeah, that was the thing that really got me. And I think it's weird. We were talking about the sort of younger people there. I think they did get it as soon as they saw it and could see what was actually going on. I think they did think it was pretty cool. Unless I was wrong.
Well, when we first went into lockdown, I remember I was doing lots of Facebook streams, and I was doing it on 45. So we're doing a house thing on Facebook, and a lot of my house music friends never got the 45s thing. They were like, "Why is he playing those? There's no point." Whereas I was like, "If I'm gonna DJ, I'm gonna DJ stuff I want to DJ on the format I want to DJ if I'm streaming from home." And then Koco did Glitterbox on Facebook. All my friends that used to look at me thinking, why is he playing 45? Were like, we completely get it now. Completely get it. We're all they were all hooked. It was like one of those, when someone breaks out of a niche and it suddenly goes a bit more mainstream. Koco doing that was wicked. I mean, he didn't play that much house, ironically. It was a lot of disco stuff, but still, it was still a wicked set.
It was yeah, definitely brilliant. And as Mr. Lobb says, he's all about the format.
Yeah, format's dope.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah, nice one. Yeah, format was dope actually. I got to go to this. It wasn't unofficially anything, but it was like the Friday night after 45 day. I
I'm
went
jealous.
to Hastings.
I bet that was wicked.
It was good fun. It was really good fun. Obviously, a DJ One of a Kind, Andre, put on Mr. Thing and DJ Format in the sort of basement of a hotel, and so it was really cool. And you've got a really good sound system. But I think that's going to be quite a regular thing. So I need to get you down here to Hastings one day.
Yeah, I've actually looked at the train for Hastings, and the train is cheaper, even though I change it London, than it is going to London.
Right.
So next time I go to London on the train, I'm going to book it to Hastings and just get off.
So hold on, it's cheaper to come to Hastings than to go to London from Wales.
Yes. and I have to change in London to get the train to Hastings.
That's crazy. Mr. Lobb saying, I think we have already spoken about this. Mr. Lobb saying, come and play on the September the 9th.
Oh, definitely. You try and stop me, Rob. I owe you a big kiss.
Yeah. He does like to kiss, Sam. I can attest to
everyone.
That. I can attest to that. Right. Well, another reason we've got you on is because of the awards. Now, you did quite well. Yeah. I am going to caveat this a little bit. I'm not saying I won anything, but obviously I couldn't take any votes for me because it's my own awards. Coffee and Donuts is a little bit different because obviously we're all involved in that, and that yes. So that came out and won. But obviously you won some of the awards that people might have voted for me on. But yeah, anyway. So we had, is this the right one? No, we'll come back to that. Hold on. Cover versions, 45's DJ.
Yeah. I'm still quite shocked by it all, to be honest.
Well, it's one of these things, and you know, the reason we're good friends is because I think, you know, I talk to you about ideas and I run things past you, and you're like, yeah, that's cool, and you've always been really supportive from the very beginning. I think I did a Twitch stream. It was probably the first Twitch stream on 45 Day, 2020, and I seem to recall you might have been in the chat at that very first one. It was at the end, I think, but it wasn't really till the 24-hour stream that we really sort of properly connected, I think.
Yeah, it was. I think it was the Mr. Lobb's 45 Kings all day on the Sunday. That was one of my big Twitch apocryphal moments where Mark Hype couldn't get the stream working, and I jumped on, and obviously then it put me in a lot more people's radar that play 45s, because I'd done a lot of Twitch before that, but that was kind of one of those key moments in my Twitch thing. And so big ups, Mr. Lobb. Thanks very much for doing that one that day. We pulled it off last minute, didn't we?
I can't believe we, knowing now what I know about Twitch and what we do to do a stream, I can't believe that we did for the first sort of proper raid, a 24-hour raid stream with people having a stream key to the channel, with Mr. Lobb organising the bit in Australia and sort of that end, and then me doing the sort of Europe. And I look back on that and I was like, how the hell did we manage to? and apart from a couple of little technical issues here and there, we actually somehow pulled it off. And you know, here we are hosting talk shows and talking to you and
waffling,
but that award then, so cover version, obviously I love my cover versions, and we've done 45 Raiders cover version stuff. That must mean quite a lot, that one, because there's other people out there as well, not just me. There is other people out there.
Yeah, of all the ones on there, I was quite surprised by that one, because they all I say they all, it sounds terrible.
All your awards
all mean something different, and I know I play a lot of version excursions, and obviously I've had to do a lot of digging to keep my Twitch shows, you know, relatively fresh every time. So you do find some wicked covers. I gotta give a big shout out to Gaff on this one too, because he scored me on loads of great cover versions of tracks. And it's kind of cool that I can find a version of something that someone hasn't heard before and they like. That's for me, that's the key. If I can play one song to one person that they don't know and they really like, great, and my work's done as a DJ.
That's why I'm losing my voice.
I played Be Thankful for What You Got off this today, which I know isn't a 45, but there is a 45 of it I do not own. It's the one I'm missing. But again, people are like, oh, that's a really good version. I've heard that before. And that kind of, yeah, Slim gets rad. Definitely Flip Out is awesome on the covers.
Flip Out, bless him. He he won Best North American 45s DJ. And he sent me I sent it to him and he's like, what the heck? I won an award? Awesome.
That sounds like Flip Out. I never know if he's being serious or sarcastic because he doesn't change his voice on either. There's no inflection.
I don't know. This was in message, so I don't know. I think it seemed like legit. And I think, okay, we're a small community, we're a niche community where a small number of people voting, but enough people voting to make it worthwhile. And it's just been great to see people get involved and to see who everyone's favourites are. Because the other ones, have I done that one?
Oh, well, Fade's just asked a question because I can actually see the chat this time. My favourite cover version.
It's gonna be
I would say, as I'm an avid cover version collector of one specific song, it is Sunshine of Your Love by Cream originally. Any version of that is my favorite cover version because I love that song.
Yeah. I'm going to do a show at some point further down the line of songs like that have lots of covers,
cool.
and talk about that because we Demelzo's in the chat. Yeah. First of all, she said Mr. Thing did a reggae soul covers version stream a few summers ago. That was brilliant. She played, I think, one or maybe two covers of Sol McCozy, and I was like, oh, I'm going to play them on 45 Funks, and I played two that weren't that one. And then I found another one that wasn't that one. And so it'd be interesting to find out how many different versions of a particular song there is.
You could do like sorry to digress.
No, go for it. That's what it's about.
Like a weekly different song with different DJs. So you could do, I mean, like my fire, you can do for about 6-7 hours without doubling that. Obviously, Sunshine of Your Love that I mentioned, and there's Sunny, the Bobby Head track. There's so many versions of that without playing Boney M. And
well, stuff like Everybody Loves the Sunshine, you know,
good
like that. Like you say, Be Thankful, there is Stevie covers, there's so many.
Oh yeah, you gotta have Flip Out for Stevie covers.
Yeah, definitely. And Demel's is saying the Spanky Wilson. I think that's I've got that version, the Spanky Wilson.
That was the one that started me on the journey, Mels. Do you know if you got the BBE 7 of that, it actually name checks Andy Smith on the record. And it's Andy.
Oh, you said that one before,
yeah. There's a little nugget of information for you. That was
I think you may have told me that before, actually. But yeah, that's cool. But I have got that one, I think. Mr. Lob says that's his favourite. Right. Next award, again, people could have voted for other people. Best Eclectic 45s DJ. Now, what does that mean to you, that one?
I suppose it's because I love the format. I always have loved the format. I am not a new person on the 45 scene, even though I might be new to people knowing who I was on the 45 scene. I have played 45s since I was 10. I've always played 45s. Me and my parents used to have we'd listen to the chart show on the Sunday. Me and my mum would be dancing around the living room listening to whatever was current. And we'd play singles. And it was always singles, be it Beatles or Supertramp or Fleetwood Mac or Pet Shop Boys that I was really into at the time. But I've always played 45s. I have hardly any 12s in, as a DJ. I have very few 12s. 45s, obviously, you all know I've got a lot. It's because I've always been into them. So if someone gives me something, a genre that I haven't got that many 45s of, I will go running at it and go and find some stuff that people haven't heard. So I've done new wave, I've done new jack swing, I've done acid jazz, house, obviously, drum and bass, hip hop. I can pretty much, if someone asked me to do a genre, I could probably do a set on Twitch. J-pop is my new one. I'm trying to get a whole J-pop set together. Well, I can do a J-pop set on 45s.
You're everything to every man, isn't it? That's the that's the thing. But it's also why I love
DJ by heart. So I'm supposed to be everything to every man. That's what I do for a job. So
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah. Big shout out to a few more people: Shoestring Sound and
Easy does it. Chuck B, how you doing?
Easy does it as well. But I've lost my train of thought. I can't. Okay, I'll come back to that. So the next one, and then we'll come back to the last one because I think the last one probably means the most. Well, this one does as well, but best 45 DJ Europe, Mr. Thing and Sam Tweaks. I mean, yeah, it was neck and neck.
That's nuts because I've never thought of myself as a DJ as a good DJ. I can rock a party, yeah,
right.
But to even like be on that list is a bit bonkers because it's like, you know, you've got Jim in the chat, you've got Fade, you've got Mr. Thing, you've got Format, you've got obviously Koco, who we all adore, and you got Flip Out, and you got Skratch Bastid, Gaff. You know, there are some amazing 45 DJs out there, and you know, if that one's Europe, you're missing Robert Smith, Mark Hype, Koco, Shavra, Suspect. It's like I'm I still can't believe I'm even in the consideration, let alone on the list. And I know kind of Twitch is, and this is a Twitch-based awards thing. And
of course, yeah.
And you know, the Samily are wicked, and what we've managed to do as a community on Twitch is nuts. But I purposely didn't over egg the awards because I didn't want it to be everybody in Sam's chat votes for Sam because Sam's got all those, you know. I kept stum about it because I didn't
be
want
like
it to
I'd pop
be
into
false.
your chat and I'd put it up. Yeah.
It did, because then it's not a true representation. And so the people that took the time to vote, which if you did, thank you very much, because I really didn't push it in my end. I was like trying, because I didn't want it to be wrong or false or because there are some people out there that are going to go, well, yeah, he's got 14,000 followers. All he has to do is get every one of them to vote, and he's going to win. So there's going to be someone out there that thinks that, which is fine. But I certainly didn't. I did not try and do that.
No, I'm sure. But again, that comes down to one of the things we all love about you is the modesty as well. You know, saying, "Oh, I'm not a good DJ." Again, it's Double P won the best improved for this year. 45 DJ because it's been amazing to see him. But equally, we've talked before, and you said to me how certain things that you never used to do before Twitch, like juggles and live mashups and things like that, which you do amazingly well. And I think, you know, in terms of live mashups, I think you're definitely up there. There's not many other people I see who do that as regularly as you do, in a good way. So I guess it's been good for you to sort of have a platform where you've got to constantly evolve and push yourself and try new things and new styles and all the rest of it.
Yeah, that was one of the key things for me. I was a house music DJ. I was never a big hip hop head as a kid. I was into dance. You know, if it made me want to dance, I liked it. So to blend sevens is what I love doing more than anything else. And then obviously to do mashups allowed me to blend acapellas with beats. So that was a natural thing for me to do, to try and keep things in time and do that. Whereas, you know, doubling up a song or even trying to scratch, because I'm hopeless at scratching, is you know, I see people what they do with a fader. I'm like, how the hell do you do that? Because I'm so set in my ways. I really struggle to do two things at once. It's like patting your head and rubbing your tummy. I'm like, no, I can't. I need Jim Sharp and a cane and an afternoon where he just hits the crap out of my hands until I stop doing all my bad habits. You up for that, Jim? I'm sure you'll enjoy it. I'll have red hands, but it'll be fine.
So hold on, but you're asking Jim Sharp to come round and cane you until you learn how to scratch.
Purely in a make me better at scratching.
This show has gone downhill, and Jim's saying yes, capital yes,
capital yes.
Okay, well, where we leave that image.
I never had doubles. I never needed doubles. And all of a sudden, you see all these people doing, cutting this song back and forth, and you're like, oh shit, I need to learn that because people expect me to do it because I'm playing 45s. So Twitch is, like you said, Koco practices for 8 hours a day.
Yeah.
I practice for about 4 hours a day on a camera.
On Twitch, yeah.
That's so I'm doing that practice live because I'm trying to do stuff that I've not done before. So
yeah, that's great. And have you hit it yet? Have you hit 14,500 or you're very close? I think last time I looked.
Oh, I don't know.
I think you were very close last time I looked, but it must be amazing to think of those numbers from when you started Twitch and obviously the first sort of few streams to what you firstly achieving, becoming a partner, and then obviously those sort of viewing and follower numbers.
Yeah, it's I was determined because I got to big up Mojax because we were all in Wax Nerds at the time, and Mojax, I know I said this story before, phoned me, and said, right, Twitch is where it's going to happen. You need to come over to Twitch and bring the Wax Nerds over. We'll do a Wax Nerds stream. So Mojax could play 45s as part of that, and obviously Flip Out was starting to do stuff on Twitch, and I come over and I could see from doing Facebook Lives in my local community that people needed something to escape being locked down. So I kind of twigged early on that as much as it's about tunes and it's about what you do with them, it's also about everybody that watches.
Yeah.
And this is their escape as much as it's yours. And to share that as a mutual thing is magic. So I hope I try to make everybody welcome and get them to be part of, this crazy niche thing that we all do. But yeah, it is cool.
But again, that's the thing, isn't it? We talk about it being niche. I think I'm getting close to 2,000 followers, which I think is pretty cool for me. But the fact that at some point, close to 14,500 people have been through your channel at some point. Obviously, a lot have stayed regular, some come and go, and some have dropped out of Twitch altogether, or whatever. But at some point in the last 3 years, that number of people have come through and spent at least a minute or 2 minutes on your channel. That's crazy, and I get that just with the figures I've got. It still blows my mind, really, what we've achieved.
Yeah, sometimes I go and sit in the garden,
right,
and try and take in some of the crazy stuff that's happened. And there's been lots of marking points in the Twitch journey that kind of special where things happen, like the Funk Hunters discovering us, and then us doing stuff for the Funk Hunters, and then there being like a bit of an upswell in people asking skills if I could play Stream Raiders. And to go and like Jim Sharp, he says, he speaks to me a couple of times a day. We probably phone each other once a week, and that's nuts. Because like Jim Sharp, I used to idolize in a fan, and now he phones me up, and I still like go, oh my god, Jim Sharp's phoning me, or oh my god, Crafty Cuts is phoning me, and he's like, what do I do? Do I say hello? What do you do? I'm still a fan.
Yeah.
So to have those people, as part of a group, and that they enjoy what I do is absolutely nuts. But I still get nervous. Skratch Bastid comes in. Jesus, he scares the shit out of me.
What, he raided into me on 45 days.
Yeah.
After you and I'm like, what? I can't. I'm not going to DJ. That's why that was more of a show. I'll play some records and I'll do some talking, and then we'll do the awards. And it's like, I mean, again, thank you for linking that up as well. When I first told you that 45 Day was on a Thursday and what we were planning, you're like, oh well, let me see if A Skills might be interested, and we'll do Stream Raiders. And yeah, I mean, that was amazing.
Yeah, it's for me. I want to hug the world. So when we found out 45 Day was on the Stream Raiders Thursday, I was like, I don't, because I've got my heart in so many different things. I want to try and pull it together. And big cuts, as Kev Clark's just put.
Yeah, yeah.
And so I thought, oh, it makes perfect sense to me. I get the best of both worlds because I get to watch A Skills and Gaff and Bastid play on 45s on one of my best friends, like big 45 day. Great. It's like we got to make this happen. It's got to work because serendipity says those two things are on the same day. So you got to make it work together.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was cool. I love
and
that.
it's and for me it's cool because obviously last year was a Wednesday, so that landed on Dusty Donuts Wednesdays on Wax, which I was on, which I don't think it's ever going to be out anyway to watch back again, but it was fun. But again, and then so next year, I've said this a little bit. I'm speaking to you and other people, but obviously, you know, we've got a year, let's do it. So next year, the plan is what the original idea of 45 Day was to organize people around the world to put on 45s events. It lands on a Saturday, 4th of May, 2024. So if you put on events, if you have a local bar, put something on 45 Day, and then we'll have a sort of maybe link up to places around the world, a little bit like Eurovision. We're going to Wales, and then now we're going to Berlin. You know, why not?
Why not? I think that's a great idea. I like the way that James Sharp says we've got the footage of the Ewoks and Criztoz on Wednesdays on Wax.
I have the footage as well. I just haven't been brave enough to put it out there just yet.
If it's any consolation, Criztoz, it is not quite as embarrassing as Ragnar and Ad Vodka doing a rap.
Oh, yes.
Your birthday. That was that was even further extreme.
Exactly.
They were drunk, double P.
Yeah, that 45th birthday, you sort of pulled together different people. So you're like, oh, coffee and donuts, and then we'll do Ace of Rays. And again, rather than saying to people, I'm going to take it over, you're like, let's see how we can make this. And that's the big part of Twitch. And we were talking about it before, collaborating and working together.
Oh, it's especially in those days on Twitch where you had, you know, people starting raid things off and everyone excited, and I love getting everyone together. It's just part of my what I do, what I want to do. So it made perfect sense to me. We're going to do a whole weekend, and it's the only raid train I've ever organized. I'm never doing one again. But it was
who does all the work for 45 Raiders?
Yeah, you do, Criztoz.
That'll be me.
That'll be you. But
you're just like, hey, what about this crazy idea of, you know, I want to play this really niche area, and you guys can all struggle to find something.
Yeah, and I'm all for that.
Yeah. Sam, thanks, 4 awards, you deserve to treat yourself to an S11. Just putting that out into one. Well, maybe next year, if I can have a budget and someone sponsors the awards, I can actually give you something physical rather than just a digital award. But we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Physical things.
There you go. Yeah,
they get big records as well.
Flexing again. Right. I think this is the last one. No, it's not that one. That one. Now, I think I saw somewhere that you put a post and mentioned that this is probably the one that perhaps meant the most to you.
It's the one that allows me to be me the most. Now, although I'm a very genre hopping DJ, I am when I do my mobile stuff, and I do go around. But I was a raver, early 90s. It was all throw your hands in the air rave stuff, and I always played 45s at raves, and we had some like crazy universe stuff in not far from me, and I used to go and play, you know, crazy face melting happy hardcore stuff on 45, and I always just get kind of looked at like, oh, what are you doing? Why are you playing these little things? They're shit. But for me, because I love the format so much, I still wanted to do it on 45s, and then so I kind of fell out of the whole. I didn't want to be that DJ because it wasn't going to work for me if I couldn't play the format I wanted to play. But I like music. I kind of you're right, AdeyP. I never stopped dancing. So I dropped out the whole scene and went mobile DJ, and then sat in my own little bubble for 20 years where nobody knew me unless you're from around here. where every bugger does.
Yeah.
But so to get an accolade 30 years later for what it was probably the truest form of what I do. I'm a blender. I like putting songs together for, for as long as I can get away with on a 45, even though the twitch is hell. It's the one that kind of, that's the one I wanted to win. If I could want to win an award.
Yeah.
Because I don't put myself in any of the other brackets because I don't in my head. But that one, I'm like, I looked at that one and thought, I'd love to win that one. That's the one that kind of, that's the one.
And you did, and it's been great, and it's been really good. But I think we're probably at the end of the show. And thank you so much for being on there. I'm just going to set the raid, and we're going to go and see. Assuming he doesn't stop going live, I think he is at the moment. Your co-winner of Best Europe DJ.
Oh,
hold on, I've typed it wrong. Tell people what you've got coming up over the weekend.
So Sunday 6:30 with AdeyP's Calm, raising funds for the Calm charity. AdeyP does this every year. Big ups to Aid, and I think it's Next Men, Sunday Get Down, myself, all in a row Sunday afternoon. So that's cool. I'll be in London with Jim to watch Skratch Bastid in Peckham. So hopefully something materializes that weekend. Fingers crossed, where we can kind of get together. Next Friday, I'm in London with Andy Smith playing Northern Soul in the Rivoli Ballroom. So that'll be cool. And there's obviously the Sucker Fest with Suckerside. There's Good Vibes in Cheltenham with DJ Fade and Crafty Cuts. There's Leo Palooza on with Hong Kong Ping Pong and Arlo. Is it Arlo Vanucci?
Aldo Vanucci.
Aldo. That's it. That's because I was thinking of Arlo. Yeah,
Arlo.
and Aldo Vanucci.
Yeah.
But Leo Palooza is dope, imbued. So come down to that if you're around. So there's one.
I've been to that venue where that festival is, and it is really cool.
It is really cool. You should come down, Chris.
Yeah. Well, let me know. Sadly, we're not making it to Glastonbury this year, so there'll be no 400 episodes of Pitch Riders episode. But
you'll be at Leo Palooza too.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's see what dates are. Message me, and then we can have a look at it. But thank you so much to you. Thank you so much to AdeyP. Thank you so much to Jim. It's been a fun first show, and I might do this again. Get some more guests and just
chat. All of you in the chat. And thank you to everyone that voted, because it meant the world. I was buzzing Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and then I could bear streaming on Tuesday without being too embarrassed.
Yeah, and thank you to you, all of you. Without you guys, we wouldn't be doing this, and all the support. Thanks so much, everyone. And we're going to go and see DJ Mr. Thing.
Thank you, everyone.
See Mr. Thing, yeah.
Boom.
I think we are out. Let me just check the raid.